Cool. Okay, so thank you, Fernando, for reminding me to record. So we'll have this on our training channel that Fernando does. So good afternoon, everybody. Ryan with Texas United Realty. Of course, this is also for United Real Estate since we're the one and the same. We're going to have a question and answer after this is over. So feel free to ask me anything and everything. Again, my name is Ryan, Texas United, and I'm with one of the mentors in our company. And today we're going to be talking about Transaction Desk. So a little bit of a side story real quick. I used to use old school, I know. I've been doing this for 20 years. Zip forms. If you don't know what that is, probably a good thing. So this is a format to do your contracts. So I was using zip forms for 20 years. And then, of course, I learned .loop so I could help train my mentees using .loop. But then the office, Carol and Amy told me about Transaction Desk. I started using it. I never looked back. I promise you, you won't either. So let's get started with the let me get rid of this here. Participants. Slide this over. Sorry. I just got to keep an eye on everybody to make sure I keep admitting people. So let's get started with the beginning. We're going to go with United, Texas United, one and the same. Sorry, it's not as big as I would like. I'm on my laptop today. United, one and the same. It's not hosted by Fernando. Fernando is joining us, but it's hosted by me, Ryan Hygic. My information is in the chat. Fernando's also on board here with any questions as well. We'll open up at the end. Just make sure to unmute yourself if you have a question, please. Okay. So also, you're going to scan there. There is a private Facebook group. It is not separately anymore. They're combined. So please, please, please screenshot this, scan this with your phone. You can just open up the pictures and scan that. You will go directly to the Facebook to join the group. That's where everything gets posted, including these meetings. Okay, our agenda is going to be how to log into Transaction Desk, how to start a transaction, adding documents, and then sending off for signatures. And yes, all of this is free. All of this comes with your HAR account, and you do not need to pay for a sub account like DocuSign. It's integrated with a signing platform. Okay, I promise you, you will love it when I'm done. We will do Q&As at the end. So let's get started. I promise to keep this short and sweet. Sorry, you do not need to access Matrix yet. You just need to log in. Okay. So once you log in, on the left-hand side is tools. By the way, all these tools are really good for you to browse through, but we're not going to talk about that just yet today. We're going to go to third-party tools. You're going to go to Transaction Desk. Transaction Desk. By the way, that's also a way to log into your .loop if that's the way you want to, if you still want to use .loop. But by the end of this, I promise you, you're going to be using Transaction Desk. So waiting for Transaction Desk to load. I'm not sure what's going on. Sorry, guys. Let me try this again because this is not what I want to be happening right now. Third-party tools, Transaction Desk. Come on. I swear I was just using it. Bear with me, guys. It's loading. I'll check the chat when I can. Yes, they do. Thank you for that, adding that comment, because you are right. They surely Computers always do that to you. Yes. And this is a brand new laptop, by the way. Okay, so I'm going to go to create a transaction. Okay. What you want to do is you want to, Fernando, could you unmute yourself and give me a MLS number, please? Would you mind?
Sure.
We're going to
No, I
call
don't mind. Let me see. Right
three
here. Let me get the.
Cherry Street, 123 Dogwood. I'm just, you name it whatever you want to name it. I usually name it the address / maybe the buyer's name or last name, just to remind yourself who it is. That's just the name of the file. You don't have to, you can do anything you want.
Okay. You need the MLS number?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, template. So let's hold on just a second, Fernando. Template, let's
Sure.
say, hold on, let me admit this person. Okay. So template, you're gonna go buyer template. Let's pretend this is a buyer that we're writing this up for. Import from HAR, because Fernando's gonna give me an MLS number. So you would just go into HAR and find the MLS number for Dogwood. Fernando, a random MLS number, please.
Right. 873.
Oh, sorry.
36.
873.
36. 921.
Thank you, Fernando.
Huh?
Okay, let me make sure I didn't miss anybody that wanted to join in on there. Nope, got everybody. Okay. Okay, so I just entered the MLS number. That's important because it's going to suck in all the information from HAR and auto load it into your contracts, including the listing agent's information. Remember, we used to type that all in manually? Those days are gone. You're going to select yourself as the selling agent because remember I said you were the buyer's agent. You want to make sure using Wizard is checked. Okay, it's important to fill all that out because when you create the transaction, it's most of the information is going to be auto-loaded into the contract. So address, legal description, listing agent's information, all that good stuff is going to be auto-loaded. So this platform is pretty easy to use. The right-hand side is going to be where you are. Make sure nobody needs to be signed in. Okay. The right-hand side is where everything you're gonna use everything on the right-hand side. So you're gonna go to your contacts and you're gonna add your contact in here. So the cool thing is, looks like Fernando picked him as one of his listings because he is already the listing agent. And it's going to be filled out. Just watch and see. Selling broker is Texas United. Listing broker is Texas United because that's what Fernando's with. It already knows this because it knows on per MLS who the listing agent was. You can add your buyer, add yourself, add your buyer, create new transaction contact. Type, make sure you put them as a buyer. Scott, we're going to make somebody up. Jones. You put the email because it's going to want to know who to send it to for signatures. You can do that later when we do the signing thing. So, but I would go ahead and do it now. So whatever his email is, scott@yahoo.com, whatever the, if there's a different legal name, then you put it there, but I would put their name as it is on their driver's license, how you want it on the contract in here. Don't make a nickname. And you're going to hit save. So now we've got the buyer already in here. Okay, now all you got to do, this is the simplest part, is go to documents. And Amy at the office already preloaded most of the documents that you're going to need to do a transaction. So that's the coolest thing. Actually, check that. One more thing. Forms is what you need to go to Here's another cool thing. Here's all your forms. Documents is everything that it grabbed from HAR. So you no longer need to go to HAR and go to the attachments and upload those to your computer, then upload them to .loop. They're already on here because it grabbed it from MLS. Look, seller's disclosure. It grabbed it. So let's go back to forms. So here you go. Here's your forms. Here, your 1 to 4 family contract, your addendums. Here's your 1 to 4. Here's the cool thing. Most of it's going to be filled out. Of course, you use your DA checklist, which I make sure that all my forms are in here, right? Because we're all using our DA checklist. But look, the buyer's name's filled out. Usually the seller's name is filled out. It grabs it from the tax records. Not sure why it didn't do that. Maybe it wasn't on there, but usually it does. But if not, you just type it in. You go to HAR, go to the tax records and type it in. It has a legal description already in here. There's no lot and block, but I'm guessing there is no lot and block on this one. If there is, again, you go to the tax records and just make sure that there's a lot. If there's a lot and a block, then type it in. You just click it and type it. Whatever it is. Just type it. But look how most of it's already filled out. And then of course you need to fill out the contract for the earnest money, price, all that stuff, which we're not going over today. There's a contracts class every week that our office does, by the way, just plugging that in. But look how everything that can be absorbed from HAR is filled out, including your information because it knows I'm the buyer's agent, and Fernando's information because it knows he's the listing agent. Of course, this would be an intermediary but you get the picture. Okay. Let me see if there's anybody in the chat. That's amazing. Yeah. So, okay. So let me give you, Realtor Ryan here loves to give and unmute yourself if you have a question, by the way. I don't care if you interrupt. But I love to give solid, I call it like on the streets advice and actual things that make sense. It used to take, doing this for 20 years, I could type up a contract in 30, 40 minutes. But most of that was typing in all this information like you see in front of you. Most of it was trying to make sure all my forms were in the file. Most of it was then sending it to DocuSign and adding all the initials and drop downs. I've cut my writing up a contract time in half using this platform. And who doesn't like to save time? Now, some of these things I would edit, like I would do 3% of sales price, right? But how much did that take compared to typing all this up? And then the coolest part is just say save and exit. You're done typing it up, just hit save. Look, and you're saying, well, wait a minute, I need to add something. Maybe it's a farm and ranch, or maybe it's it takes me about 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, including signatures. I can type one up. That's also including making sure I go over my contracts 2 or 3 times before I send them off. I've got OCD, and you should when you're a realtor and you're typing up a contract. Let me see if they're getting it. Yep. So just keep asking in the chat questions and I'll answer them. So the question was, sorry, y'all don't see it in the chat. How long does it take me to type up a contract? 20 minutes, 30 minutes tops. Used to take me 40, 45 minutes when I was using zip forms. I know that's a long time, but I'm talking about start to finish. I had to zip forms. I had to load all the addendums in because I didn't have a template. And even when I did, it wouldn't update because zip forms was outdated and the template wouldn't update. So I had to make sure I had to, even now I use the DA checklist to make sure all my file is correct here. I usually have a bigger screen than this, and I'll put the checklist to the right-hand side, and then I'll have this on my left and just make sure everything's in the file. But let me make sure. Curious, if we set up our own templates with a list of required forms, we use the forms Amy has in there, but so Fernando might be able to answer that question in the chat. Yes, you can set up your own templates, and as long as you're using the current DA checklist, I don't see why you couldn't set up your own template. I don't see why. I don't know yet how to do that. This would take me doing some digging around. To be honest, I have only been using Transaction Desk for about a month, and I'm already pretty versed in it. And that's how easy user-friendly it is. I did ask Fernando's daughter, Shelly, in the office to go over a couple of things that I just didn't understand. And literally, this is a true story. In the office, she went over it with me 5-10 minutes tops. And every question I asked, she answered. And then I was like, okay, cool. Thank you, Shelly. And then I said, man, how long have you been using Transaction Desk? And she said, never. It's a user-friendly and she figured it out on the fly. But some of us are better at that than others, right? Where did I find the seller's disclosure? Great question. Documents. Check it out. It uploads it for you. You don't even have to. You don't have to go to HAR and manually upload the documents. It's gonna be there. How did I do that? Well, I ain't that young. Brenda says, must be nice to be young. Yes, for Shelly, I'm 39 years old, about to be 40. I have no shame, I guess, in adding in how old I am. But you got guys also have to understand, I've been doing real estate since I was 20 years old, and I'm still used to doing the old school stuff because 20 years ago, we didn't have all this stuff. We didn't have DocuSign or eSign or any of this. We had the old pen and paper, and then we had a fax machine. So none of if anybody, I get it. We have a lot to complain about, but if you want to complain, remember I had to drive an hour to Dayton, Texas to get some initial on a contract, and then an hour back, of course. Okay, so where do you find the extra documents? Documents right here. Where do you find the forms? Forms. How do you add a form? Add. And the cool thing is, no offense to Dotloop, but Dotloop had me all like confused on how to add a form. I end up getting it at the end, but this is so much easier. There's no things to look for or cloak and dagger. This is all the databases are here. You just type it in and ask for it. Information about brokerage services, and then click it and click add, and then it'll show up in your contracts right here. See? And then the cool thing is it's already going to be filled out for you. It's already going to be filled out for you. Check it out. I did notice that the last bottom one wasn't filled out for you. I don't know why. The very bottom line. I don't know why they do that. I tried to ask like Amy if we could get that corrected, but we'll see. Okay, so keeping y'all interested, and then you hit save and exit. So you're saying, but wait a minute, I need my clients to sign this and I don't have DocuSign. Well, I have DocuSign, just saying, again, because I used zip forms and there was no way of getting them to sign it. Again, this is why you want to use Transaction Desk. This is free. Check everything that you want. Of course, remember that you filled this all out and you checked through the contract to make sure it was right. You're going to check all the forms that you want your client to sign. And then, as I say, just like if you were Amazon shopping, everybody knows how to Amazon shop. I'm probably the best at it. Add it to your cart. And then hit that. And as you check it, it adds it to your cart or basket. And then just click the basket. And then you can download it. So someone was asking how, if I'm a mentee, how do I send it to my mentor? Remember, us mentors have to review our mentees' contracts before they send them to their clients to sign. Well, you can save it as a PDF. You can email it. So I would just save this as a PDF to my computer and then email it to my mentor. And then when we give the green light, then you can hit send, hit the pencil. And voila, it's about to send it off for signatures. You have to double check a few things, but I'm about to show you. My computer's just going slowly. So while it's loading, let me check the chat. All forms of transactions dot loop may be most current. Yeah, Amy keeps it current from what I understand. Yes. Suppose the selling agent and enter your contact information will be pre-filled your information. Yeah.
Well, if it's
Yes.
um
Susan?
just just to clarify real quick on the documents that are most up to date. For example, if you started a file in .loop that was before changes happened, you know how contracts are always changing, then those will not update. You would need to add that new contract or that's updated into the file. Now, will it be there in templates? Yes, but you would have to add it yourself. So if you're working on something, you started the file with the client 6 months ago, and contracts have changed since then, and you're going to write something up, then it will not be the most updated. You would have to add the new one that updated.
Good point.
Now, if you started the file as new, though, then yes, they would be updated.
Thank you for that. And mentors, if y'all want to add anything into this, please do. As I said, I've only been using Transaction Desk for a month, but it's so user friendly that, again, I just played around with it for like 30, 45 minutes. And I was like, this is cool. I'm going to start using this. And I've probably used it for 4 or 5 transactions. So I know my way around for the most part. If you say so, I love this. I think it was Susan. I believe if you set yourself up as a selling agent and enter your contact information, it will pre-fill your IABS. Agreed. Good point. I just didn't add myself. I thought it automatically added myself, but maybe I needed to make sure I was in there as the selling agent. I'll go back in a minute. Good point. Thank you for the comments. Wow, I love the comments today. And again, mentors and Fernando, Fernando's the head mentor. He's on here. If you have a comment to add, please unmute yourself and add the comment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say add participants. And you just say add from transaction, because remember, I added the buyer already, but you could add new if you forgot to do that. So add from transaction. I'm going to add I could even have Fernando sign it because he's already on here. But let's say you don't want the listing agent to see it yet. And that's what I would do. Then I would just add myself and my buyer. And you can tell him as a reviewer, or you could add Fernando as a reviewer only. Again, my buyer hasn't signed it yet. I don't know if I'd want the listing agent to be able to review it yet. So I'm just going to add myself and the buyer. Again, it knew that Scott Jones was the buyer, right? So, and then it knows I'm the selling agent because it grabbed that from MLS. Susan, we're gonna try what you said here in a minute. I like your comment, and I think that's why it didn't pre-fill out the IABS. But look how it knew that the buyer should initial here and then date here because it knows where the buyer should sign. Kind of like .loop. It missed it on this one. So I'm going to show you how to input it automatically. So if you click on Scott, you want to make sure he's the buyer, which he already was. So what I do is let me show you what I did. Signers, click on Scott, double click on Scott. Okay, I double clicked that second time. Now I'm going to drag and drop. Date. There's 2 dates here, but whatever. And then you can do the same thing, drag and drop your name. So if it misses it, just drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop. It didn't miss it there. See here, see, look at the buyer tenant rep. How easy is it to fill out? It didn't have Scott Jones's current address, so it didn't fill that out, but it filled out his email and it filled out all your information except for my email, which I bet you if I add it to my signature line, I bet you it will go ahead and autofill my email. So there's a few things that I still need to play around with, but it fills out not what would y'all say? 80% of the residential buyer's representation agreement. And it already dragged and dropped the initials. So DocuSign, I had to drag and drop everything. I'm sure there's a template. I just wasn't technology advanced to do it. So can you imagine how much time I'm saving? Again, I just make sure that the initials and stuff are in place. And then the cool thing is you just hit next. I don't know if I want to, because I think it's gonna, well, my computer's going slow again. But if you hit next, it'll ask you if you want to send it out for signatures. Again, I didn't have to. Maybe I just don't know Dotloop well enough, but Dotloop seemed like it sent out like the client like 6 different emails for them to sign each form separately. Again, maybe I just wasn't doing something right. But this one, you just hit next and it's going to send it all out in one email to your client to sign an initial. I usually do a reminder every day. In case they don't sign, it'll send them a reminder. And then it hits send, which I don't want to do because that Scott is a made up email. But that's it. That's all you got to do. I mean, it's as easy as that. I mean, I could save the transaction, save successful, and then go back. Even when you hit the back button, it asks you if you want to save it. Okay, let me check the chat. Customize email intro to the documentation. Oh, can you customize an email? Good question. I think you could. Didn't it let me? It's freezing up on me. I think when you hit next, it actually does. Oop, cancel. I don't want to end the meeting, do I?
Ryan, I think it's under profiles.
My computer's just going slow. So
It's under
Yes, when
profiles.
you click next, it does give you that option to customize an email. So before you hit send, it's right next to send.
I love y'all because my computer's acting up, and that's great. See, I'm learning as I go too. So there you go.
We're all a team. We're all a team.
We are a team, and my computer's just running slow. Well, I'm at my brother's house, but I told Fernando I was going to be at my brother's house, and I'm using my cell phone as internet. So that's probably why it's going a little slow. But as you can see that you want to go back and look to see if your client has signed. 0 of 2 has signed. So, and then you can do, here, let me make sure y'all understand this though, just as the kicker. And then I think we're going to wrap it up. Don't hit classic, hit new, because classic for some reason doesn't show your file. I don't know why. I think they should just take that away. Make sure you hit new. And then you can come over here and you can edit the signing, duplicate. And once it's signed, you can actually, it'll give you an option to save it as a PDF. Once it's signed over here with the 3 tab. Or you can just go back into the transaction. It's just not letting me because the internet's being slow. So, and again, Susan, you were right about the fact that if you add yourself manually, it'll probably pop up in the IAPS. So I don't want that. I'm going to go into the trends. I'll show y'all how to get out of this. Once it took me back into the signing portion, if you will. But if you don't want to go back into that, then you simply come over here and hit home, the home button on the left-hand side. And then it's going to load all your transactions. As you can see, I've done. That was my test one that I did just to figure out this format. And then you're going to hit the file. And then you're going to come over here, and this right-hand side is where you control everything. So I'm going to add contacts. I'm going to see if I can add myself manually. Ryan, selling broker, I am. Why don't I add myself into the transaction? No, let me do this. Or selling agent. Yes.
Does it save for you every once in a while? Like, for example, if you are on dot loop and you walked away or switched screens and got distracted, you lost all that work that you did. Is that the same here with transaction desk? Do you need to press the save button every now and then, just to be on the safe side?
Great question. Not when it comes to these contacts here. I'll show you in a minute what I did every time I type up a contract, just to be on the safe side. And I'll show you that. Let me add my name to the basket. So I just clicked that and added me to the basket. Let me see if I'm on the IABS now. Okay, so let's say I go to a new, let me read the chat real quick. Auto saves your work. Yeah, Susan says it does. I believe I'm reading her name right. Thank you, Susan. She said, so Danielle in the chat, Susan said it does auto save, which is cool. But I'll show you what I do if my computer would act right. Just checking to see if I'm on the IABS. It just irks me. It's like it knows who I am. Put me on the IABS. I don't want to have to do that. But I guess I'm getting really lazy with this new platform, aren't I? I'll unmute yourself if you want to ask a question. I'll go ahead and do that while it's loading. No, it didn't. Susan, you may have to unmute yourself and walk me through. Okay, but Danielle, I always hit save and exit every time I leave a form, just so you know. But I don't know why I'm still not on the IABS. I have to. Shelly showed me. I just forget, Fernando, so maybe she can remind me.
Yeah, I don't remember. Well, I'm still learning it as well.
She
So
figured it out. She was like, you didn't add yours. Maybe I need to add myself selling broker. Maybe I need to add myself as the selling broker.
could be.
I got one more thing I want to show y'all before we end this. And if you need to step away, you can if we're over limit. But I got one more thing I want to show y'all, because I didn't show y'all how to have the seller's disclosure signed. I'll show y'all that in a minute. Okay, I just added myself as the selling broker. Let me go to IABS and see. This is more just my OCD kicking in. A technical question: are there hotkeys like shortcuts for saving and such? I don't know. I don't use hotkeys. I'm not. Again, my 20 years inexperience is showing now. Maybe. I don't know why I'm not showing up as the hotkeys. I don't know. Maybe there might be hotkeys, but as Susan said, it pretty much auto saves everything. And before you can get out of a contract, you have to hit save and continue anyway, or save. So good question. And you're probably more computer savvy than I am. That's for sure. Okay, so if I go to documents, again, I'm going to add these just like I would to my basket, just like I did the other thing. And then you go to your basket like Amazon checkout and you hit sign the pin. And it takes you to the DocuSign portion of the program. And then you can even and yes, you can add documents manually too. And so this you'd have to drag and drop the signatures, right? Because it doesn't know what these forms are. Oh, and cool. Amy added the DA checklist to the documents side. So you don't even have to go search for that's new. Cool. All right, maybe someone can figure out how to add, themselves to the IABS automatically and share that with me. That'd be great. I'm gonna add my email and phone number to the chat. If you figure it out,
You,
let me know.
do you go ahead and email them to Paperless Pipeline from here as well too?
I do not. I send, so once it's signed, so I save it or I download it, but once it's signed, it will show up in your account. Well, I'll show you. I save it to my computer and then upload it to Paperless Pipeline via an email from my Yahoo or upload it directly. But I save everything to I use an external hard drive to save all my files. So no, I don't do this directly, but there might be a way to email this directly to your Paperless Pipeline. Let's see.
Yeah, and I think so. If you select the email, like when you were gonna send it to like a mentor, remember you were in that section.
Yes, so
So go ahead and open up the transaction.
so in the signing platform, I forget where I was.
No, it was where you had all the forms, or the documents. I guess it was documents.
Okay.
Yes,
So
just select all of them. And then do I think it was
I can do
email.
it here. I think I can do it here. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's try this. How did I get the DA checklist? Good question. Someone asked, how did you get the DA checklist? It's under documents. It's already uploaded, updated checklist by Amy and all the transactions. So let's go to signings. Remember you have to, okay, so first things first, how did you get the DA checklist? And then I'm going to cover what Fernando said. Go to documents. Everything from HAR should be uploaded. Go to the bottom and hit updated checklist. It should be in every file because Amy forced it to do that, which is cool. Thank you, Amy. Now let's go to signings. Remember I said to hit new. For some reason, it's not under classic anymore. You got to hit the new tab. Now you can come over here and once they sign it, you can open up a PDF of it. So let's open up this. And you can download it. And you can save it to your computer. Or documents.
Yeah, I'm looking for something that says email.
Yeah, I remember I went through that.
Go to documents folder. Is that where you're at?
Maybe it was the next. No. You could add Danielle. I was thinking you could. What if you added the person just to review, like you added Danielle.
Yeah, because in Dotloop we do that. In Dotloop you can do a add contact, and you just copy the
name Danielle. I'm sorry.
email address. Yeah.
I am. And I put her, and then I put her as the maybe other. And then I just put her as a reviewer. So there's a way to do it. Just put her as a reviewer.
I think it would work that way. Yeah.
But you were right. You're right, Fernando. There was a way of emailing this. I'm forgetting. I shouldn't, but I'm sure if I go back to this video, let me stop the recording because we're getting kind of long here. But